What seek ye? What seek ye? What is all this tumultuous agitation? It permeates the world like a ferment, and a flood of books overwhelms all peoples. Scholars pore over ancient writings, investigating and pondering until spiritually exhausted. Prophets arise to warn, to predict. Suddenly, from all sides, people strive feverishly to spread new light. Thus it rages now over the troubled soul of mankind, not refreshing and invigorating, but scorching, consuming, absorbing the last vestiges of strength still left to the afflicted one in this gloominess of the present time. Here and there also a whispering is heard, rumours of a growing expectation of something impending. Every nerve is restless, tense with subconscious longing. There is seething and surging, and over everything lies a kind of ominously brooding stupor, fraught with disaster. What must it bring? Confusion, despondency, and ruin, unless a mighty hand tears asunder the dark layer that now envelops the terrestrial globe spiritually. With the slimy tenacity of a dirty morass, absorbing and smothering every ascending free light thought before it has become strong. With the gruesome silence of a swamp, suppressing, disintegrating and destroying every good volition, even in the bud, before any action can arise from it. But the seeker's cry for light, imbued with strength to cleave through the mire, is turned aside and dies away beneath an impenetrable canopy, assiduously set up by the very people who think they help. They offer stones for bread. Look at the innumerable books. They do not animate, they only weary the human spirit. And this is the proof of the barrenness of all they offer. For whatever wearies the spirit is never right. Spiritual bread immediately refreshes, truth revitalizes, and light animates. Simple people must surely despair when they see what walls are being built around the beyond by so-called psychic science. Who among the simple is to grasp the learned sentences and strange expressions? Is the beyond, then, intended exclusively for psychic scientists? They speak of God, but is it necessary to set up a university in order first of all to acquire the abilities to recognize the conception of the Godhead? To what lengths will this mania, which is mostly rooted only in ambition, drive them? Readers and listeners stagger along like drunkards from one place to another, unsteady, not free in themselves, one-sided, because they have been diverted from the simple path. Listen, you despondent ones, lift up your eyes, you who are seriously seeking. The way to the highest lies open to every human being. Proficiency in learning is not the gate to it. Did Christ Jesus, that great example on the true path to the light, choose his disciples among the learned Pharisees, among the scribes? He took them from the simple, natural people, because they had no need to struggle against this great delusion that the way to the light is hard to master and must be difficult. This thought is man's greatest enemy. It is a lie. Thus turn away from all scientific knowledge, where it is a question of what is most sacred in man, which must be fully grasped. Leave it alone. For science, being a product of the human brain, is piecework, and must remain piecework. Consider, how should scientific knowledge, acquired by laborious study, lead to the Godhead? What, after all, is knowledge? Knowledge is what the brain can conceive. Yet how very limited is the perceptive capacity of the brain, which remains firmly bound to space and time. Even eternity and the meaning of infinity cannot be grasped by a human brain. Just that which is inseparably linked with the Godhead. But the brain stands silent before the incomprehensible power streaming through all that exists, from which it derives its own activity. The power which everyone intuitively perceives as a matter of course, every day, every hour, every moment, whose existence science too has always recognized, whereas with the brain, that is, with the knowledge and intellect, one seeks in vain to grasp and comprehend it. So inadequate is the activity of a brain, the basis and instrument of science, and this limitation naturally also affects what it produces, hence all science itself. Thus science does indeed subsequently help to elucidate, classify, and arrange all that it receives ready-made from the creative power which precedes it. But when it seeks to assume leadership or offer criticism, it must inevitably fail, so long as it binds itself so firmly to the intellect, that is, to the perceptive capacity of the brain, as it has done hitherto. For this reason erudition, along with those who adjust themselves to it, always remains clinging to details, whereas each man carries within himself, as a gift, the great, inconceivable whole, and is fully capable of attaining to the noblest and highest without laborious study. Therefore away with this needless torture of spiritual enslavement. Not for nothing does the great Master exhort us, become like children. He who bears within himself the firm volition for what is good, and strives to give purity to his thoughts, has already found the way to the highest. All else will then be added unto him. This requires neither books nor spiritual strain, neither asceticism nor solitude. He will become sound in body and soul, freed from all pressure of morbid pondering, for all exaggeration is harmful. You are meant to be human beings, not hothouse plants, which through one-sided cultivation succumb to the first puff of wind. Awake! Look around you! Listen to your inner voice. That alone can open the way. Heed not the dissensions of the churches. The great bringer of truth, Christ Jesus, the personification of divine love, did not concern himself with creeds. After all, what are the creeds today? A shackling of the free spirit of man, enslavement of the divine spark dwelling within you, dogmas that seek to compress the work of the Creator and also his great love into forms moulded by the human mind. This indicates a dishonoring of divinity, a systematic disparaging. Every serious seeker is repulsed by such things, because they prevent him from ever experiencing the great reality within himself. As a result, his longing for the truth becomes increasingly hopeless, and finally he despairs of himself and of the world. Therefore awake, shatter the walls of dogma within you, tear off the bandage, so that the pure light of the highest may reach you undimmed. Then your spirit will soar aloft in exaltation, jubilantly sensing all the great love of the Father, which knows no limitations of earthly intellect. You will at last know that you are a part of this love. You will grasp it easily and completely, unite with it, and thus gain new strength daily and hourly as a gift, enabling you to ascend out of the chaos as a matter of course.